let's see. Uh, I had a, when we were doing the Gatha, which is part of what I was going to talk about, when we were doing the Gatha and uh, the, the subtlety, the nuance. I just was thinking was in a dialogue about political situation and how that is such a thing. Everything is so nuanced. Anyway, that was just a thought when we were doing the dedication. Um, so my name is Kyoshin, if you don't know me. And I live in Idlewild, California, which is about 2 hours away from Sweetwater. And I am, as of tomorrow, will be in residence at Sweetwater for the next couple of weeks. So nervously excited about being there. And so, which is relevant to what I wanted to share about this morning. I had a close friend who was visiting, and she was asking me about, so, you know, when you're going to go to Sweetwater, what are you going to be doing? And so I was sharing about doing a certain amount of ritual and ceremony. And her response to that felt kind of disparaging, where she's like, "Oh, you just love form." And it stuck in my craw, so which is the result of me sharing with you this morning, because it felt dismissive. Oh, you're just going to go and do a bunch of form, which didn't appear to have any particular meaning for her. So all through the week, that was Sunday night, she spent the night. We had that conversation, I think, Monday morning. All through the week, I thought about ritual and ceremony. And in terms of the definitions of the word, I always remember Tenshin Roshi saying that ritual fundamentally meant to put right. I tried to find the root, and I didn't ever find a root that went to make right. But he is pretty academic in his orientation, and so I take his word for it. So ritual to make right, and then ceremony from Maizumi Roshi. I'm going to read you just a tiny bit, but he talks about it as to cure. And why I wanted to talk about this topic is we just don't talk about it that much. We don't talk about form in terms of ritual and ceremony as part of our practice. And really, it strikes me, it's quite embedded in our practice. And those of you who have been doing Ongo very full time, all day long, that is embedded in your days. So I just wanted to read you this bit. So this is from a talk on ceremonial action. In Latin, ceremony is related to cura, meaning cure, the act of healing or of being healed. In other words, ceremony is an act that cures or heals, or by which something is healed. In having a ceremony or doing ceremonial action, we must ask, what is healed by what? The word heal means to be healthy, to be whole and sound. To make our life healthy is ceremonial. So, what the contemplation through the week for me was, because I had a conversation with someone else that said that he really enjoys routine. And so I started thinking about what is the difference between habit and routine and ritual and ceremony. And I was thinking about this all through the week. And to be honest, I woke up in the middle of the night last night and I went, oh, that's what it is. So, and we chanted in the Gate of Sweet Nectar, which is in our practice, ritual and ceremony are about raising the Bodhi mind and practicing the awakened way. And so the difference between just my routine is every other day I take a shower and wash my hair, which could definitely be a ritual, and I could definitely do a gatha before I do that. But the difference between just a routine and the intention of a ritual or a ceremony is how is that expressing our intention to raise the Bodhi mind and live a realized life, and also what's the opportunity. And I think that when one has had the opportunity to live in residence at a center or practice at a training center, you see the full scope of how all day long with others we're confirming our intention that way. And that's what's so important about Sangha, is we may not have a bunch in common with one another in terms of our personalities or even our lifestyles, but we affirm together this communal awakening. And the rituals and the ceremony, this is how it's hitting me anyway, supports that. Everything from just the chanting together, not worrying about the meaning of it, but just, as they say, chanting with our ears instead of our mouth. How we just experience a sense of unity by doing that act together, walking in kinhin and not running into one another. But also the gathas, like we just did gatha on opening the sutras. We start in the morning with the gatha of atonement. So really being at one with our karma and then starting fresh. At night, before we go to bed, life and death are of supreme importance. Time swiftly passes by and opportunity is lost. We should strive to awaken, take heed, do not squander this life. So over and over and over again, we're these forms of ritual and ceremony offer us the opportunity to clarify our intention and support one another in that. And that is, I mean, not to make it all binary, but I could have rituals and habits that I do that don't necessarily bring up that intention. I need to be conscious of it myself to do that. But we have a form that basically affirms it over and over and over again. And it really struck me when we did the Gate of Sweet Nectar this morning, that sort of like, you got the music going along, and then you go to the bridge, and then the backup singers come in, and it hits the height, and when we say, now I have raised the Bodhi mind. And so raising the Bodhi mind, I am the Buddhas and they are me. I saw I won't go into the whole backstory of it, but heard from a very experienced teacher this week. His definition of intimacy is non-separation. And this strikes me as the opportunity of ritual and ceremony as well, is we have the opportunity to be reminded of our intrinsic intimacy with life and with everything and with ourselves. And these forms are completely designed to support us and cultivate that sense of awareness. And so fundamentally to support us in being intimate from a perspective of non-separation with ourselves and everything else. I'll read you another, I think I've mentioned this before, our meditation group in Idlewild is reading this book, Enlightenment is an Accident, Ancient Wisdom and Simple Practices to Make You Accident Prone. And we read the chapter on gathas, malas, and mantras this week. And this is about gathas. So he's quoting a teacher who I do not know, Zakaya Murray. By reciting the short verses known as gathas, we transform any activity into an opportunity to awaken to our true nature. Gathas are much like mantras, except they are generally designed to help us focus on specific activities. Gatha is a derivative of the Sanskrit word gai, which loosely means songs or verses that call us to the present moment. That's beautiful. And according to him, they originated around 1300 BC through the texts of Iranian poet and prophet Zoroaster. So I guess where I kind of started with all this in my inquiry through the week, and I think, and certainly reflecting on when I first came to practice, I had no interest in any of the form. I just was like kind of the sort of from the, sit down, shut up, and just sit perspective. I didn't particularly like doing service. I wasn't particularly oriented towards that. And so I guess I wanted to just bring up the whole topic of ritual and ceremony in terms of it really is part of Zen practice. And it offers us a lot. And, we do it individually in our own spaces, in our own homes. And then we have the opportunity to do it together, which is really powerful. And, I guess, the foolishness of youth, me not seeing any value in that. But I also think it's really ancient, the ways in which, you sit around a fire and drum and have that sense of communal feeling through creating a container that brings people together and allows us to feel bigger than just our individual selves, which is also what practice is all about. So I feel like I'm really ranging around here. And I liked Willie's talk last week where he didn't talk for very long, and there was a lot of conversation afterwards, so I want to make space for that. And I guess also, it's a little self-serving, but since I'm about to be at Sweetwater Zen Center in person, I just invite us all to really cherish and value the opportunity to come together in this way. And that these forms are built and designed and have been carried through the ages to support us in our practice. And they are valuable. So I think I'm going to stop there.